welcome back to another episode of Extreme Lifestyle Living Podcast. Now, today's episode is a big reflection topic. It is 6 months done, 2026. We have 6 months left of 2026. So we're at the middle point of the year, really assessing our goals and kind of seeing where we're at. I think it's great as well that we're just jumping into summertime as well, because I think the energy is the highest it is all year. January straight up until summertime, it's really like gloomy, it's dark, depression is usually high because there's no sun, especially if you're here locally here in Halifax or in Canada. And you're really just trying your best to set up the entire year for success. And there's so many different seasons of life that go through there. But now that summer is here, we all kind of organically have that energy. We're fired up. A lot of us got more vacation time. A lot of our careers give us a little bit more leniency with certain things. Our friends or family are closest people to us are usually traveling more, people haven't seen for a while. If your kids are off for the summertime. So there's so many different things that happen through the summer. And when you're relating that to fitness, you're relating that to health and wellness, there's two things that I think about that I think are really relevant for today's episode. Number one, it's a summertime. Physically, you always want to feel your best. We all organically want to feel our best. And if we don't, we always remember that. And then, it's kind of like that joke where I say, all of us want to be financially free and all of us want to be in the best shape of our life, regardless of where you're at in your fitness level and your fitness goals, your fitness journey, whether you have never started, whether you're a full-blown athlete tracking everything religiously. Summertime comes around, you feel that pressure to look and feel your best. So there's that. But also number two, from a mental standpoint, it's just a huge transition for stress. The summertime just allows us to be more present within our lives and enjoy our lives as much as we can outside of physicality, obviously, when there's turmoil, where we're not 100% confident with ourselves physically. But nonetheless, you're enjoying time outside. The sun is here. The sun is rising earlier. The sun is setting later. There's so much more just energy and positivity in that regard. So it's just really great to sit there and just have that time. But the reason why I wanted to be really reflective today on two reasons, the first 6 months gone and the next 6 months is coming, is that it's literally first 6 months of the year ends when summer starts, technically. I know there's actual dates for summer and spring and stuff, but, thinking about it from a schedule from going to school, it's always July and August is the 2 months of summer, at least here locally in Halifax. So it's like July 1st, Canada Day, until August 31st, getting into the Labor Day weekend in September. That's your freedom. You know what I mean? So it's like you finish your first 6 months of the year and then you jump right into summertime to start off your last 6 months of the year. I think that's great for two reasons. Because number one is I want you to reflect on the first 6 months of the year. Are you happy and proud of yourself on mental, physical, emotional, and maybe educational just goals? Because again, summertime, we all want to feel and look our best physically, regardless of how we feel about the actions that go into it. We all have that kind of scare of just, oh shit, this is where we are in the reality of it. Same when the new year starts. We all organically want to kickstart the new year and start off with momentum. So the fact that you're here during summertime, it's how'd the last 6 months of the year go in terms of your physical goals? Are you happy? Are you confident? Are you wearing what you want to wear? Are you proud of your habits that you've done through the last 6 months to get yourself to this position? And again, it's not about doing anything extravagant to figure out the answer to these questions. It's just about being aware of sitting down to reflect on them. Because we all feel these things all the time. We all have intuition, we all have anxiety, we all have depression, we all have these different things, but they all affect and show up in our lives differently. But on the core, when summertime comes, we all want to go out and feel our best. So most of us just shy away and don't even embrace and understand those emotions because we can't deal with the weight of them. But again, if you just sit there and think about the last 6 months and be like, hey, what have I done? Did I do good? Eventually, you're going to start coming up with answers as to yes or no if you did good. Now, for me personally, I did a bodybuilding show. I competed May 30th, and then the rest of June, I was reversing out of it. So for me, jumping into July, I was in the absolute best shape ever. So I know I'm super confident. I know I feel really good, and I know that is why. I kind of got lucky with that. Typically if I wasn't doing a bodybuilding show, I wouldn't have been as in a good shape. I wouldn't have been as confident in terms of certain avenues because I wouldn't have been on it as heavy as I was. And that's me just being honest because I know how I am as a human being and as a person. So I just know that's kind of the process that I go through. I usually, if I'm not doing a show, cut a little bit earlier for the summer and usually feel my best come August, September. That's just the other route of it. But again, me sitting down, reflecting the last 6 months, this year, last year, the year before that, and so forth, I'm able to articulate that and know exactly where I'm at with it. And that's what I want you guys to do as well, is reflect on these things and figure out where it is. Because if we're adults, I'm not saying adult, if you're living on your own and are fully functioning on your own and don't have your mom or dad or people in your life paying and giving you handouts. And again, I'm not labeling it as handouts in case this comes off as support. But again, if you go to work to pay your bills to create your future, then these are things that you need to be doing because, again, the rest of your life, the next 40, 60, 70, 80 years, first 20 years of your life is just figuring it the fuck out. from 20 to 30, you're really setting up a little bit of a foundation to start living your life on. But the rest of your life, from 30 to 40, 40 to 50, 50 to 60, 60 to 70, 70 to 80, and so forth, and as long as you're on this planet, all of that relies on you as to what you're doing. So if you're not reflecting on these things and not looking at it from this perspective or some similar perspective to gain the answers and clarity and control around these things, you're never going to see or feel success. And I think something that's really important for that I want to highlight is that, again, you don't need to know what questions or what questions to ask yourself and what answers to get. It's just about giving yourself time and space to just sit in how you're feeling with certain things. So again, like with physical goals, it's easy to sit there and articulate from that standpoint because we all understand how we want to look physically. It's either yes, we're happy, or no, we're not happy. There's no in between unless you're progressively moving towards a journey or a goal, and you're actually systemizing things and you have progress to look back on, understand you're actually at least seeing success. For you guys that are listening that are in an actual goal, trying to show up, count your calories, work out, and lose fat, gain muscle, and whatever it may be fitness wise, you know what I mean by that. And if you're not tracking, you're not even trying, then again, that kind of goes over your head because you got to get yourself in the arena in the first place. But it doesn't have to be just physical goals. It can be mental goals as well. Like starting this year where you're more high stress, where you're more high strung out with anxiety. Did you battle depression and motivation? Did you battle purpose and clarity and these things? Like where are you at now in training according to those goals? For me personally, I started this year really just two big areas for me was one, getting transitioned back from Mexico. I moved home in December of last year. So I didn't really get situated until January, kind of middle of January. So then January, February, March was really just building a sustainable foundation for now that I was home. My lifestyle is so different now than it was this time last year. Actually, this time last year to the date recording this episode, July 12th, was when we flew to Mexico to move there for 5 months. So my life has changed a lot, but the questions and the times I reflect as to what I'm doing is sitting down right here haven't. That's why I'm excited to sit down and reflect and share that with you guys, because the thing with it is like the clarity I have around these changes and the clarity around the things that I have is just why I'm seeing so much success, because it's not about me not being emotional or not feeling stressed or not feeling any type of way about all these different goals and things in life. It's just I know what I need to do versus what I don't need to do emotionally, if that makes sense. So the first January, February, March was really just building myself a foundation to start to think about how the next 6 months to a year my life's going to look like. I knew I wanted to do a bodybuilding show, so I started prep. And then I knew I wanted to get more comfortable in my living situation because, again, it's a lot different. I want to travel again. And I know there's a lot of things with the business I'm working on. So a lot of things are kind of up in limbo as to my next kind of, home, if that makes sense. We want to travel and we want to, do all these things before we buy a house and settle down and just kind of start building that side of our life. And that transition right now just looks like it's all over the place. So it's like a big thing for me with the first 6 months was building a foundation for me to just feel confident and certain within my life, to the point that I get so well that I was in my day-to-day and week-to-week routine that, I was just focusing on bodybuilding and everything in that regard, and it was great. And then I finished bodybuilding. Last month of the first 6 months of this year, I was really all over the place because, again, my goals are all over the place. And, again, I'm in a lot of a transition. So I started therapy, helped me anchor a couple things down. And, again, it's because I know that come July, my first 6 months is gone. How do I capitalize on the last 6 months? And the best way to capitalize on the last 6 months is reflect on the first 6 months. What was going well in the first 6 months? Let's double down on it in the last 6 months. What's not going well in the first 6 months? And let's remove it or modify it for the next 6 months. So, after I built my foundation for the first 6 months, completed my bodybuilding prep, did the show, and then took the last month to really reflect and kind of let myself reverse out of the diet and mitigate my stress and kind of get back in momentum again. That's why I started therapy, because I immediately felt some gaps in terms of everything I was doing, not in a negative way, but again, I just wanted to be more fulfilled and more rewarded with what I was doing, because I know that I have everything that I need to be doing. The rest of it is just putting in the time and effort to see everything come to fruition. So that's how I did my first 6 months this year. Now the next 6 months, what I'm going to do is literally, me and Emma had a conversation today. A big thing is doubling down on systemizing our schedule. That's how we got here, was systemizing our schedule to set ourselves up for success. Go to the gym at the same time every day, go home and do work blocks at the same time every single day, go to bed at the same time every single day, and squeeze as much juice out as we can of our work schedules. And the days that we're off, completely take off. And not take off and sit in bed and relax and chill. Take them off and do more intentional things with those times as well to have better balance, whether it's watching the sunset, going for walks, whether it's just doing things together or with people that we enjoy spending our time with, and making sure that we have that optimal balance. That's the biggest thing that we realized this year is we have everything we want. We have the business, we have the jobs, we have the time, and all we're missing now is just bigger picture goals like buying a home and financial retirement, setting up, our kids and our future selves up for success financially, all of these things that just come with time and effort. So now we're just systemizing our schedules for the next 6 months to do exactly what we just did the last 6 months, because we've seen a lot of success, but more rigid from the perspective of, when we get up, we put in our time in, but when we put our time in, we're 100% intentional with that time. We don't break that time for nobody, not even ourselves, because we're committed to the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is we just need more resources and just more time in the arena to just get more financial abundance, to put ourselves in positions to travel and live our life the way that we want. So that's it. Now we have the way of doing that all in front of us. So let's just sell our souls to within reason, in a healthy way, not sell our souls negatively, to that grind, because we know what the return on investment is going to be. So that's what we're doing. And this is July 12th right now. The first couple, literally this out, it sounds crazy, but this is how analytical I am with my time. Because again, if you're an adult living your fucking life, it's on you for the rest of your life to be able to, where are you heading at in the rest of your life? You can't blame nobody. Can't blame nobody if you get to 50, 60, 70, 80 years old and you look back and you're not happy, you're not fulfilled, and you don't have anything that you dreamed of or aspired to have, because you just didn't put in the work to get it. And if you're willing to figure out what kind of work has to be done to get what type of goals you want, I can promise you're always going to figure it out. Because as long as you show up more often than you don't show up, eventually you're going to gain clarity. And once you gain that clarity, it's like a spark of a wildfire, because you just want it all. Which is why I'm so systemized on this. So now that we've taken the first week and a half to 2 weeks of July to really reflect on the last 6 months and look at the next 6 months, now we're setting up our schedule. So now from between July, August, September, October, November, December, up until about Christmas time, we know what our week-to-week and day-to-day routine is going to be. And as long as we follow that, we know for a fact the business side of things are going to be taken care of, statistically speaking, because it's written up and we have proof of concept. Now, outside of that is where it gets a little bit kind of a gray area, because again, once you finish work, like the tactical things, the black or white things, once you finish the gym, once you finish, work things, once you finish the things that 1 + 1 = 2, or A + B = C, once you've done those things as black or white, then you got to get into living your actual life outside of those things, and sticking to your structure, staying committed, disciplined to go to bed at the same time, wake up, and those things. And the only way you can do that is if you actually feel rewarded from this process and understand the bigger picture. And the way to feel rewarded is you got to be able to nourish yourself. Those times outside of the arena when you don't have to go to the gym, you don't have to put in the work for your business or your money or anything in that regard, because you've actually done it and kept your integrity high and did it. This is where you got to give yourself time back. And that's again why I'm going to therapy, because I want to make sure these times in my life I get 100% right. Not that I don't care about anything else, but again, it's interpersonal. What fulfills you, rewards you, makes you feel your best, and kind of rejuvenates and what kind of rejuvenates your soul is really just dependent on you. For prime example, Emma loves going outside in the sun. I'm not much of an outdoor person. I do feel better when I do it. But again, the way that I grew up, I was very in-house body, an in-person house body, and introverted in that regard. But again, us committing to our goals together, and me to her and her to me, I got to start doing that stuff more. And it's funny because not only from the standpoint of me doing it because she wants to do it, but I do it because I need her to lead, so I don't have to be leading all the time. That's something I'm working on in therapy, is that I'm, since again, the gym, the workouts, the nutrition, and the business, all these different things, I have so much education and so much power and time invested in these things. I'm always leading and constantly doing things. So when it comes to me not working and doing those things, I just don't need to be the person to make the decision. So if she wants to do it, we go do it. I feel 10 times better, and on both sides we win. And that's me even just being honest as to how I'm even learning the depths of fulfillment and nourishing my soul outside of doing these things. So again, that's something small we do, going for walks, doing small things like going getting ice cream, hanging with my niece and my nephew. Even just whatever it is that kind of resets you, whether it's playing video games, reading books, doing something expressive, you gotta go into the store, buying yourself stuff, whatever it is, you just gotta make sure that you're giving yourself just as much effort as you are the work ethic and the grind. It's hard to stay committed to the gym. It's hard to stay committed to the nutrition. It's hard to stay committed to work and never miss a day and all these different things. But you have to have that same tenacity in your personal well-being as well. Prime example, it's making sure your house is clean and tidy, your laundry's done, and your dishes are done. Put as much effort into making sure those standards are high as it is going with making the money and hitting your macros. Same thing with the days off, making sure you're just as aggressive with yourself to go for that walk, get your head out of your ass, and actually, nourish yourself and give yourself some time that isn't related to anything but things just for you. And that's a whole other conversation that's incredibly hard to kind of figure out, but that's kind of our plan for the next 6 months, to just continue to get as much out of our life as we can. And same thing with you guys. There's 6 months left of the year. The first 6 months is already done and gone, and the next 6 months is going to be fucking gone before you realize it anyways. And the summertime is right here in front of us. And it's crazy because so many of us get so caught up with life that we forget. Like summer, how many times have we all sat down and it was like, damn, summer's gone already? Like it's summertime right now and it was like, damn, fucking New Year's just happened. I feel like it was just Easter. Do you know what I mean? I feel like it was just yesterday. We were like, oh man, I can't wait for summertime to come around. So I just think it's incredibly important for you to not only reflect on the first 6 months, but reflect and take the processes or take the answers you get and the reflections that you do get from the first 6 months and transition those into the next 6 months. Like how much more can you get out of your life? How much more can you get out of your fulfillment and your workouts and your business and your life and your finances, whatever it may be. But how much can you get out of life when you actually are looking at it for what it is and putting in the honest work? You know what I mean? So, we got 6 months left of the year. The next 2 months are going to go flying by because it's organically one of those times of the year because it's summertime, everyone's on vacation, everyone's enjoying themselves, everyone, really is just kind of being present, not really 100% present because, we just kind of try to enjoy the weather as much as we can, especially if you're here locally. And, a lot of us are trying to come to the fall season and realize that we only have 4 months left of the year. And then that's when you're already going to start that mindset of, I'll start next year or I'll start fucking, to Monday, whatever it may be. But, if you do not reflect now on the last 6 months to at least start kind of planting seeds in your mindset now for the next 6 months, by the time the summertime is over, you're only going to have 4 months left. And we all can agree December doesn't even feel like a real month because of Christmas and the holidays and things like that. So realistically, you'll have like 2 months, 3 months, September, October, November, and then you're going to be jumped into the new year again. Do you know what I mean? And then 6 months from the new year, right here again, we'll be having this conversation. So I think it is a little bit important for you guys to understand that, reflect on the first 6 months, lock it in for the next 6 months. Everything that's going well for the first 6 months, let's double down and make sure we get the most out of it for the next 6 months. And anything that doesn't fucking work out, like let's change protocols, like, take risks and get rid of fucking things and people and time that doesn't invest or align with you and just see what you can do. Do you know what I mean? But again, the biggest thing, like I said, as long as you're winning more often than not, eventually you're going to start to break through and see some clarity. And then again, gain control over these things you need to be working on and you'll lead from the front and start seeing some fucking success. And I do hope me sharing the way that I kind of look at the first 6 months and next 6 months kind of gives you guys clarity as to kind of like how analytical I am with my time. Because it's just, we all have the same 24 hours on the planet. And yeah, sure, some of us have different cards dealt every single day for many different reasons, but that doesn't mean that you can't play the hand that you've been dealt to your absolute fucking best for you and what you want out of life and eventually start winning all the fucking time. And I'm a firm believer of that. I don't care where you come from, what you have, what you started with, because I've started with less than most people that I've known. And that's just not me to put me on a pedestal. It's because I ended up being the facts that I had to figure the fuck out, which is another reason why I go to therapy, so I can understand the real severity and weight of that without being emotional with it. But other than that, I appreciate you guys all as per usual. If you guys ever need anything, obviously don't hesitate to reach out. But seriously, 2 months of the summer is here. We got 6 months before the year is done. Let's just keep leading from the front and setting those fucking standards. Let's go.